Overthinking quietly steals your joy, taking away your peace, clarity, and sense of direction. It pulls you into a never-ending cycle of replaying past mistakes, worrying about the future, or overthinking every choice. Each thought feels helpful at first, but it only adds to the confusion, leaving you tired, anxious, and mentally stuck. In a fast-moving world that rarely slows down, filled with constant distractions, heavy uncertainty, and pressure to control everything, overthinking has become very common. The more we try to analyze, predict, or make things perfect, the more confused our minds become, increasing inner stress and keeping us trapped in doubt and worry. But what if there's a way out? A way to quiet the mental storm and rediscover the peace you thought was lost. As Buddha once said, "You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger." Now replace anger with overthinking, and it's the same trap we all fall into. Buddhist philosophy offers a timeless remedy to this modern dilemma. By embracing its profound teachings on mindfulness, simplicity, and impermanence, you can finally break free from the grip of overthinking, regain emotional balance, and find true clarity in the present moment. In this video, I'll share 6 life-changing Buddhist teachings to help you escape the overthinking trap. At the end, there is a powerful bonus lesson, one that could transform not just your thoughts, but your entire approach to life. This is the key to the inner peace you've been searching for. Let's dive in. Lesson 1. Focus on the present moment. Overthinking often feels like being trapped in a storm of thoughts, each one pulling you in a different direction. But as the Buddha wisely said, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. These words hold a profound truth. Overthinking thrives when our minds are tethered to what has already happened or what might come. By learning to focus on the present, we can begin to calm the storm. Imagine crossing a wide, rushing river. If you fixate on the distant shore, the journey feels overwhelming. If you worry about the current beneath you, fear might paralyze you. But if you focus on the stone beneath your feet and the next step ahead, the task becomes manageable. Life works the same way. Overthinking takes hold when we allow ourselves to be consumed by regrets from yesterday or anxieties about tomorrow. The present moment, however, offers a refuge, a place where the mind can rest and find peace. Practicing mindfulness is one way to anchor yourself in the now. This doesn't require grand gestures or hours of meditation. Start small, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. Notice the sensation of air entering your lungs and leaving your body. Feel the ground beneath your feet or the texture of objects around you. These simple acts of awareness draw you back to the present, breaking the grip of spiraling thoughts. When you focus on the present, you gain clarity. The noise of the past and future fades, leaving room for calm and intentional action. You realize that in this moment, you are safe. You are enough. As the storm subsides, peace takes its place. A peace rooted not in escaping life's challenges, but in confronting them with a clear and steady mind. Pause for a moment and think, what is one thought about the past or future that you can release right now? Let it go. Allow yourself to be here in this moment, fully present. Just like the river metaphor, the next step is always within reach if you remain focused on where you are. Over time, this practice becomes a habit, transforming overthinking into a sense of mindfulness and clarity. And in that clarity, true inner peace begins to bloom. 2. Let thoughts pass like clouds. The Buddha once taught that thoughts are like clouds. They drift into the mind, linger for a moment, and then pass away. Yet we often forget this truth, clinging to certain thoughts as if they define us, creating unnecessary suffering. Overthinkers in particular get caught in the storm of their own minds, treating every passing cloud as if it were permanent. But here's the secret. Thoughts, like clouds, are fleeting. They come, they go, and they only control us if we let them. Imagine sitting beside a calm river. Leaves float gently on the surface, carried by the current. You wouldn't dive into the water to chase a single leaf, nor would you try to stop the flow of the river entirely. Instead, you would watch the leaves drift by, acknowledging them without needing to hold on. This is how we should treat our thoughts. Observe them, let them pass, and resist the urge to grab hold of each one. When a worrisome thought arises, perhaps about a mistake you made, or an uncertainty about the future, pause. Instead of wrestling with it or trying to suppress it, visualize it as a cloud in the sky. See it drift, changing shape, and eventually disappearing over the horizon. This practice is not about ignoring your thoughts, but understanding that they are not you. They are merely passing phenomena, like the clouds or the leaves on the river. Clinging to thoughts gives them power. It's the act of over-identification, believing that every thought reflects reality, that traps us in cycles of overthinking. By learning to detach, you regain control over your mind. You recognize that just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it has to stay there or dictate your actions. This simple shift in perspective creates profound change. Detachment from thoughts frees your emotions from their grip, allowing you to experience life with more clarity and peace. You stop reacting impulsively to every fleeting worry or self-doubt, and instead respond with calmness and wisdom. Take a moment now and practice this. Close your eyes and picture one troubling thought as a cloud in the sky. Watch it drift, and as it moves away, notice how its weight begins to lift from your mind. The sky remains vast and untouched, just as your mind remains pure and open, regardless of passing thoughts. Over time, this practice strengthens your emotional resilience, helping you move through life with the peace and clarity you deserve. Let your thoughts float by, and allow yourself the freedom to simply be. 3. Release the need for control. The Buddha taught, suffering is not caused by events, but by our reaction to them. These words point to a powerful truth. Much of the anxiety we experience doesn't come from life's challenges themselves, but from our resistance to them. Overthinking, at its core, is often a desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable, a futile struggle against reality that leaves us exhausted and stressed. To find peace, we must release this need for control. Picture yourself pushing a massive boulder up a steep hill. Every ounce of your energy is spent fighting gravity, yet the higher you climb, the harder the struggle becomes. Now imagine pausing, letting the boulder roll away. What happens? The weight lifts, the path ahead becomes clearer, and you can move forward freely. This is what happens when you stop trying to control things beyond your power. You don't give up on life's challenges. Instead, you let go of the unnecessary burden of resistance. Life is filled with uncertainties, and the mind's natural response is to overthink, analyzing every possibility, trying to plan for every outcome. But no amount of mental effort can guarantee what tomorrow will bring. The rain will fall when it falls. The seasons will change when they're ready. Instead of clinging to the illusion of control, reflect on what truly lies within your grasp. You cannot change the direction of the wind, but you can adjust your sails. When you embrace surrender, not as a sign of weakness, but as an act of wisdom, you free yourself from needless suffering. Begin by identifying one worry that has been occupying your mind. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, release it. Visualize the worry as a bird you're holding tightly in your hands. Open your palms and watch it fly away. This practice of letting go lightens your mental load, creating space for clarity and calm. By releasing the need for control, you discover an incredible truth. Uncertainty isn't something to fear, it's a natural part of life, a space where growth and possibility reside. Accepting this allows your mind to rest and your heart to find peace. You're no longer trapped in a cycle of what-ifs, but grounded in the freedom of the present moment. Pause and reflect. What is one situation in your life that you've been struggling to control? What would happen if you simply let it be? In this act of surrender, you'll find the serenity you've been seeking. As the Buddha reminds us, the path to freedom isn't in controlling life, it's in learning to flow with it. 4. Anchor yourself through mindfulness. The Buddha said, "When the mind is calm, the breath is calm." These simple words hold the key to unraveling the tangled knots of overthinking. A racing mind often feels like a storm, chaotic, overwhelming, and out of control. But in the midst of that storm, mindfulness serves as a lighthouse, steady and unshaken, guiding you back to safety. By anchoring yourself in the present moment, you can find clarity and calm, no matter how turbulent your thoughts may seem. Imagine you're on a small boat caught in a fierce storm at sea. The waves crash, the wind howls, and you're tossed in every direction. But in the distance, you see the beam of a lighthouse cutting through the darkness, showing you the way. That light is mindfulness, a practice that brings you back to solid ground when your mind feels lost in the chaos of overthinking. Start by focusing on your breath. It's always with you, a constant rhythm that connects you to the present moment. Inhale deeply through your nose, feeling your lungs expand. Hold the breath for a moment, noticing the stillness, then exhale slowly, releasing tension with each breath. This simple act draws your attention away from the swirling storm of thoughts and anchors you in the here and now. The beauty of mindfulness is that it's accessible anywhere, anytime. Whether you're in traffic, sitting at your desk, or lying awake at night, you can return to your breath. And with each mindful moment, the storm inside you begins to calm. Your thoughts, like waves, may continue to rise and fall, but they no longer have the power to toss you about. You become the observer, steady and grounded, watching the waves pass. Over time, mindfulness transforms how you respond to stress and overthinking. Instead of reacting impulsively or letting worries spiral, you pause, breathe, and center yourself. This practice not only quiets the mind, but also creates space for clarity, helping you make decisions with wisdom rather than fear. Take a moment now to try it. Close your eyes, take a slow breath, and notice how it feels to simply be. As you exhale, let go of one thought that has been weighing on you. Feel the relief as you return to the present moment where peace resides. In the storm of overthinking, let mindfulness be your lighthouse. It won't stop the waves, but it will guide you safely through them, reminding you that the calm you seek is always within reach. 5. Simplicity brings freedom. The Buddha taught, "Happiness is not a goal, it is the path." These words remind us that the complexity we often chase in life, the endless striving, the cluttered mind, the overthinking, only pulls us further from the peace we seek. Simplicity, on the other hand, is liberating. It clears the mental fog, helping us find clarity and joy in the present. To stop overthinking, we must learn to simplify not just our lives, but our thoughts. Picture a tree in a dense forest, its branches heavy with tangled growth. The excess doesn't help it thrive. It blocks sunlight, stifles new growth, and drains its energy. But when the unnecessary branches are pruned, the tree flourishes, focusing its strength on what truly matters. Life is much the same. Our minds become crowded with unnecessary worries, tasks and distractions, leaving little room for peace. But when we simplify, we create space for what truly brings happiness. Start by identifying what's essential in your life, what truly matters to you, what nurtures your soul and aligns with your purpose. Once you've identified these priorities, let go of the rest. This can be as simple as saying no to commitments that drain you, decluttering your physical space, or limiting the time you spend on social media. Each small act of simplification clears space in your mind, reducing the overwhelm that fuels overthinking. Simplifying your thoughts is just as important. When you catch yourself spiraling into overthinking, pause and ask, is this thought helping me or hindering me? Imagine you're pruning a tree, cutting away thoughts that don't serve you, letting the light of clarity shine through. This mental practice allows you to focus on solutions instead of problems, presence instead of worry. Simplicity doesn't mean giving up ambition or living without goals. It means stripping away the excess that weighs you down so you can move forward with lightness and intention. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. And in this simplicity, you find freedom. A freedom from the endless loops of overthinking, a freedom to simply be. Take a moment now to reflect. What is one thing you can let go of today, whether it's a task, a worry, or a thought that doesn't serve your peace? Release it and notice the space it creates. Like the pruned tree, you'll find yourself thriving, no longer burdened by the unnecessary. As the Buddha reminds us, the path to happiness isn't found in more, it's found in less. Simplicity is the key to inner peace. 6. Trust in impermanence. The Buddha taught, all conditioned things are impermanent. This profound truth holds a key to overcoming overthinking. So often we spiral into worry because we perceive our challenges as permanent, as if they will define our entire lives. But impermanence reminds us that nothing lasts forever, not our joys nor our struggles. Understanding this truth allows us to approach life's storms with hope and resilience. Imagine a powerful storm rolling across the sky. The thunder roars, the rain pours, and the winds howl. It feels endless, overwhelming, but inevitably the storm passes. The sun breaks through the clouds, and the world feels renewed. Our struggles are no different. Even the darkest moments eventually give way to light. When you trust in impermanence, you stop fearing the storm and start believing in the sunrise. Overthinking often holds on to the idea that things will last forever. What if this failure defines me? What if this pain never goes away? But this belief is not true. When you remind yourself that everything is temporary, fear and anxiety begin to lose their hold. The hard days, the sleepless nights, and the heavy stress are only passing moments, not permanent parts of your life. When you face a challenge, pause and quietly tell yourself, this too shall pass. Let these words ground you in hope. They are more than just a phrase. They remind you that life is always changing. Use this understanding to build resilience. If you feel overwhelmed at work or stuck in a conflict, take a step back and picture the situation like a wave that rises and falls. No wave lasts forever. It appears, reaches its peak, and then fades away. Trusting that things are temporary does not mean ignoring your feelings or problems. It means facing them with the understanding that they do not define your whole life. Just as seasons change, your situation will change too. This way of thinking calms the mind and gives you strength to keep going. Instead of being trapped in overthinking, you can focus on getting through the present moment, knowing better days will come. Take a moment to reflect. What worry or struggle feels heavy right now? Imagine it as a storm slowly passing across the sky. Feel the burden easing as you realize it will not last forever. When you trust that everything changes, you begin to release the fear that fuels overthinking. As the wisdom of Buddha reminds us, Life is always moving and never stays the same. By accepting this truth, you can break free from the grip of overthinking and find peace by trusting the natural flow of change. The storm will pass and the light will return. As promised earlier, here is the final lesson: the power of compassion toward yourself. The Buddha taught that compassion is not only for others, it starts within you. Yet when our minds are caught in overthinking, we often forget this simple truth. Instead of being kind, we criticize ourselves, strengthening stress and self-blame. But what if you chose a different path? What if, in moments of stress, you treated yourself with the same care you would give a close friend? This small change has the power to heal and transform. Imagine a young plant in a garden. If strong wind bends it or the sun burns it, you don't blame the plant for being weak. You care for it, giving it water, support and protection so it can grow strong again. Your mind is the same way. When overthinking weighs you down, it is not a sign of weakness. It shows that you need patience and care. Self-compassion is like water that feeds your inner strength. Notice your struggles without blaming or judging yourself. Overthinking often comes from expecting yourself to be perfect. We replay conversations, overthink choices, and focus on every small mistake, believing it will stop future problems. But this constant self-criticism only increases our pain. Take a moment to pause and remind yourself, I'm human. It's normal to feel overwhelmed. This simple act of self-acceptance is like opening a window in a closed room, letting in fresh air and light. Then practice talking to yourself with kindness. If a friend came to you feeling anxious, you wouldn't ignore their feelings or judge them for overthinking. You would offer comfort, understanding, and support. Give yourself that same kindness. When your thoughts start to spiral, gently tell yourself, it's okay, you're doing your best. Pause and take a slow, deep breath. These simple words create a sense of emotional safety and help calm your inner tension. Self-compassion does not mean avoiding responsibility or turning away from challenges. It means facing challenges with kindness and without harsh self-judgment. This way of thinking helps you see answers more clearly because you are no longer fighting yourself. Over time, self-compassion becomes natural, easing the strength of overthinking and opening the path to inner peace. Take a moment to reflect. What is one kind thing you can say to yourself today? Write it down or say it out loud. Let this thought support you when overthinking starts to take over. Just as a young plant grows strong with gentle care, your mind grows when treated with patience and kindness. The teachings of Buddhism remind us that compassion is a powerful force for healing. When you turn it inward, you loosen the hold of overthinking and build a foundation for lasting peace and emotional freedom. Be kind to yourself. This is the first step toward true freedom. In life's journey, your mind can be your greatest challenge or your strongest support. Overthinking, like a storm, clouds your thinking and pulls you away from the present moment. But within Buddhist wisdom lies guidance to calm this storm and reconnect with the peace already inside you. By staying present, releasing attachment, and accepting change, you can turn inner chaos into deep calm and stillness. The Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." This powerful idea reminds us that our thoughts have the ability to shape our lives. Through mindfulness, simplicity, and self-compassion, we can train our minds to let go of heavy thoughts and rediscover the calm and joy hidden beneath the noise. Every moment gives us a new chance to return to this peace and fully live in the present. Zen philosophy teaches us the beauty of keeping life simple. When you realize that nothing is truly missing, the world begins to feel complete. By accepting life's natural flow and trusting that everything changes, we free ourselves from overthinking and develop deep gratitude for the present moment. Each breath and each moment becomes meaningful when we stop chasing and start simply being. Take time to reflect on these ideas and pause for a deep breath. Begin today by letting just one small worry pass without holding on to it. Real change starts with one simple step toward inner peace. If this video spoke to you, consider liking and sharing it with others who may find value in these thoughts. Feel free to share your reflections or favorite teachings in the comments for more meaningful lessons on calm and mindful living. Stay mindful, stay present, and may peace guide every step of your journey.